welcome Bucknutters into a special edition of the Bucknuts Roundtable. We were unable to pull off the Bucknuts 90 for you yesterday afternoon, so we promised we'd be back with some more in-depth dialogue, and we aim to come through today. Dan Rubin here is the publisher, joined by Duane Long and Bill Kurelic. Guys, obviously it's been a tremendous few weeks leading up to this, but the announcement of yesterday that Jashawn Cornell and Justin Hilliard will be committing on the same day to what we think will be the same school on Wednesday. Sounds like good news for the Buckeyes, Bill. Everything you're hearing, I assume, leads you to think this is going to be good news.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. I think, as the saying goes, I think it's going to be a 5-star day for the Buckeyes. And, what we were looking at, say, a month ago, as the feeling on Ohio State recruiting as compared to what it is and what it could be come Wednesday afternoon, what a night and day turn. But, as we've talked about many times, if you followed Urban Meyer, if you followed Ohio State recruiting under Urban Meyer, there really was never any reason to panic. Urban Meyer is a great recruiter. The staff, they are great recruiters. And when all is said and done, this is going to be a great Ohio State recruiting class.
Duane, assuming that Cornell and Hilliard picked the good guys, give us a quick vision of what you think we're getting in those dudes.
Well, Hilliard, as I look back over my years of following recruits in the state of Ohio, Hilliard could be the best linebacker recruit that I've seen in that time. When you look at all the way around, this is a guy who probably going to be an inside linebacker, but he could play over the tight end on the strong side. He could play on the weak side. He's big enough kid to stand up to the tight end, to the pounding that comes from being on the run side of formation. But he's also has the speed and the instincts to be a guy that can play out there on the weak side. He can cover in the flanks. That's the one thing I love about this tight end, is that he is – I have never seen a high school linebacker, maybe because I've seen so much tape of him doing it. I don't know. He is the best I've seen in coverage. He seems so comfortable. He drops back. He falls into zone easily, but then they show him also playing man-to-man. And that's the thing that you want 3 down linebackers that allows you to stay in your base. It's everything. This kid is just everything you would want. Cornell is just a freak, physical freak. Right now that they're talking about a 6'4" kid that's 255 pounds right now, and still projected as a weak side defensive end. That says it all, what kind of athlete he is. I think he's going to grow into a strong side guy. He may grow into a 3-technique football player down the line. But either way, you're getting a specimen who finds the football. There's never such thing as too many outstanding defensive linemen. No such thing. You take guys like this anytime you can get them. Another thing about this, when's the last time, I asked Bill specifically, when's the last time that on a not, I'm not talking about on signing day itself, have you ever seen 2 5-star guys come on board to the same school on the same day? I don't know if I ever remember that happening. Bill?
Well, I'm sure it has happened some school, somewhere, sometime, but specifically with Ohio State, I can't remember that happening other than, as you mentioned, a signing day type thing, perhaps, but I can't remember that happening on just a, quote, normal day, especially a normal day in July. It will be a spectacular coup, providing it happens, for the Buckeyes.
What's interesting is I think this is also, and this is probably a topic for another day, so I won't go too much into it, but to me this is, and you guys have seen, we've heard package deal in recruiting, whether it's basketball or football. Man, you hear that at the beginning of every recruiting cycle, and the kid will come back from a camp and say, I met Johnny Appleseed here and we want to go play together, and it very rarely happens. To me, this is almost the effect of social media going forward, that these guys are able to stay in touch to such a level and develop such a deep relationship that you're talking about St. X in Cincinnati and Cretin-Derham Hall and St. Paul, 2 powerhouse football teams hooking up. So I think that's awesome going forward, and just kind of shows the value, or maybe not value, but the impact of social media. Bill, I want to talk to you about this. Last week you discussed Urban Meyer coming out and talking about the number of guys in the class. you throw these two guys in the mix Wednesday, we're approaching that number. You start throwing in guys that I think everybody who follows Bucknuts thinks that Ohio State's going to get, your Larry Scotts of the world, your Jerome Bakers. Where do you see the numbers going right now, using Wednesday as context if both Hilliard and Cornell sign on?
Well, I still think, originally I did have it at a 22. I lowered that a little bit, saying I think it'll be 20, 21. And I still tend to think that'll be the number, 20, 21. As you mentioned, Dan, this is taking them to, providing it happens, providing they get Hilliard, providing they get Cornell, providing they get Baker, which, again, my feeling is that they're going to get those three. That's taking them close to the number Urban has mentioned, 14 or 15. Not quite there, but they're taking them real close. They're on the fringe of it. As you mentioned, there are still some great prospects out there that they have a good chance to get. I think they've got a good chance to get Damian Harris, for instance. You mentioned Larry Scott is out there. They don't have a wide receiver in this class yet, and they certainly want to get a wide receiver, or two great wide receivers, actually. They've only got two offensive linemen. They certainly want to add at least one, if not a couple, great offensive linemen. There are some strong candidates there, too, including James Daniels. So in the end, I think it's a great problem to have. But while we were talking about Ohio State and their two commitments not long ago, now we're talking about a potential numbers crunch. And I think that numbers crunch will end at least 20, maybe 21, and I wouldn't rule out 22. But again, there's got to be some attrition. I think there will be some, but it's a matter of how much attrition will there be?
Another name that's gotten real popular recently, Duane, I want you to check in on this, is that of Josh Sweat. This is a kid who's a defensive end out of the Virginia Beach area, Ocean Lakes High School. Was not really thought to be heavy on the Ohio State radar, Duane. I wanted you to and Bill will kind of update us on his recruitment because he's had so much good information on that. But you've been on Josh Sweat for a while, and when we started asking you to do some evaluations early on in the year, he was a name that you had towards the top before almost anybody else. Educate us, those of us who haven't seen him play or don't really know much about him, on Josh Sweat as a prospect.
To me, he's the best prospect in the country. You're talking about such a key part of football, and that's the pass rusher, and this kid is perfect. Dan, this is a 6'5", 6'6" kid. He's 225, 230 pounds. He's long. He comes off the ball. He's beat so many tackles. Just the first step, he's by him. That's huge explosion with these rush guys. I love the motor. He keeps chasing no matter what. He's got all the tools. To me, he is the best rush end I've seen come out of high school since Davion Clowney. He's that elite.
So you put him. So Duane, hold on a second. You put him above Noah Spence as a prospect.
Yes, I do. Absolutely, I do. I think that he's that elite. As high as I was on Noah Spence, and I thought he was the best defensive end in the country that year. This is another level. This is a weak side guy. Love how he uses his hands, and again the motor that this gets chasing from one side of the field to the other. A great frame on him to add weight. He's going to be 255, 260, maybe 265 when he tops out. He's got all the tools that you're looking for. If I'm building a weak side rush in, that's what he's going to look like. Is Josh. Absolutely phenomenal specimen, and I love that we're in it. I'm sure Bill's got more to say on that than I do.
Yeah, Bill, Joshua's kind of a different guy. One thing I noticed, he doesn't have a Twitter account, I don't think. He visited Ohio State this weekend. Not many people have been able to get in touch with the Sweat camp. You have. Kind of bring us up to speed on where he stands with Ohio State, but also what you thought of him as a kid, kind of covering thus far.
Well, first of all, as a young man, he's a soft-spoken, well-spoken, really good guy to talk to. I mean, I actually spoken with him again late Sunday night, and we'll have a story today on the site early this afternoon on just exactly what he's thinking about Ohio State. And I can tell you that the I guess speculation or thinking that he is not seriously considering Ohio State is just not accurate. He is absolutely considering Ohio State. His visit, as he put it to me, there was nothing negative about the visit. He said everything was great. He's definitely a Larry Johnson fan. I'm not saying he's going to Ohio State, but I am saying Ohio State is absolutely in the running for Josh Sweat. He will likely take official visits. He's not committing to any of them right now. He says he doesn't know exactly where those official visits will be, but I think Ohio State is right there and has a very good chance to get one of those official visits. So I think it's certainly positive. As he put it, even the comment about Ohio State having such a big campus, which some were taking as a criticism, he said that was not a criticism at all. In fact, it was a positive. He likes the fact that Ohio State has a big campus. So, I think it's going to be an interesting recruitment, and certainly Urban Meyer is going to go after him hard as long as he can.
We thank Duane and Bill for joining us. I think what we've clearly established as the panic at the disco mentality we had for about 6 weeks there is officially gone. This is going to be an incredible week here for the Ohio State, and that usually means, well, we hope it's going to be, wink, wink, and that usually means it's going to be a great week at Bucknuts. Make sure, as Bill mentioned, that you stick around and check out the boarding house later today, but then his in-depth piece on Josh Sweat that's coming up. Hopefully this roundtable made up for the fact that we did not have Bucknuts 90 yesterday. Have a great week, Bucknutters. We'll be in touch.